why I think she comes across so genuine to people, and what I don't know if they realize is because she's now become the voice I need to hear.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
she's saying the things that I wish my mother or my grandmother or some aunt or something was here to say to me.
Oh, yeah. Welcome to the TikTok influencers you really should know about. I'm your host, Christine Blosdale. In this podcast, you'll get to meet TikTok creators who inspire, motivate, and entertain. Get ready to discover the influencers you may not have heard of yet, but you definitely should know about. Welcome back to the TikTok influencers you really should know about. I'm your host, Christine Blosdale. I'm your expert authority business coach, and I help overwhelmed entrepreneurs of all stripes get the word out about their message through videos, through TikToks, through books, anything to do with media. I'm that person that helps you get the word out about your business. And I am a huge fan of TikTok. I begrudgingly went to that platform a while ago because I thought it was just a bunch of teenagers in their room dancing to music, and I have just fallen in love with the platform, and the creators there are just amazing. They're some of the most talented, gifted, wise people, and someone that I just came across on a fluke. I don't know how you came up on my FYP, but I am just so happy. My guest today is known as, well, she's known as many things. Gigi Gonzalez, right? Also known as Ms. Mary or Granny. And her handle, and we'll make sure that we put the link because you got to follow her. It's Lady Gigi50. And we'll make sure people have that. But welcome to the show. Now, how can I
Thank
address you?
you.
How would you like me to address you?
Everybody calls me Gigi.
Gigi. Okay, Gigi.
Yes,
Well, welcome. I've been waiting for this for so long, and
me
I'm
too.
just so excited to have you on. You're real. I'm your number one fan. I think. Well, maybe somebody will
Oh,
fight me over that, but thank you so much for coming on the show.
thanks for the invite.
Yeah. So now we talked a little bit before we hit record for this episode, and your channel is, to me, it's something that I look forward to, and there's something very comforting about the videos that you do, and they're very honest and just real. Can you talk about when was the first time you came across the TikTok world? How did you get into it? How did you get into creating TikToks?
Well, I'm a stand-up comedian. So I was in that world and COVID hit, all the comedy clubs shut down, and a lot of the younger comedians knew about TikTok. So one of the first things, they all treat me like mama because,
Mhm.
they're in their 30s and 20s, and here I am in my 60s, so it was like, Miss Gigi, you got to get on TikTok, that's where everybody's going. And I'm like, tick what? Like tick who?
What?
And literally someone else downloaded the app onto my phone and said, this is what it is. And I was like, oh, and they were doing lip sync and things like that. And I'm big into lip syncing. I mean, since
I
I
love it
was,
too.
you know, and I lip synced someone else's content who had a granny voice. And as you see, the distinction is I say Gigi has teeth, Miss Mary, Granny, Mama Odie, she does not.
Right.
you know and when I happened to see it, it just reminded me of my character that I do on stage, and I decided to try it, and everybody thought my voice fit that content so well that they literally to this day think that's me, and I feel bad for the original content creator, and I shout them out as
Oh,
often
that's good. That's
as
good.
I can. But that's where it started. That was my first viral video. It just, and I have been granny ever since. It's like, okay, I accept.
And you know what? And you're everybody's granny. You know, that's the thing. I mean, I had a grandmother, and she was such an important part of my life, and really raised me. Okay, I
Mm-hmm.
was yeah, my parents had something to do with it, but really it was my grandmother and her
Yes.
just that there's a generation,
Yes.
that generation that I think probably the one word that really sums up that generation is resilience, because
Yes.
you know they've been through everything, right? Wars and the economy crashing and the
Depression, all that stuff.
all of it, right?
Mm-hmm.
And I mean civil rights movement and all of this
Mm-hmm.
going on, and yet I remember, when I would say, God, how do you do this? How do you do it? How do you get up every day and with all the challenges and everything? And it's like, water on a duck's back. It's just,
Yeah.
you can't hold on to it. And so I think you resonate with people who either had that, maybe as a child growing up, or someone like that, and you remind them of that, or, which I think is the majority, people that wish they had that wish they had Granny. What are your
And
thoughts?
and that's exactly where Miss Mary came from. So what we, like you said, we talked a little bit earlier, and like I was telling you, that character was born out of necessity for me. My growing up was not a very happy one. I did not have those encouraging parents. The only grandparent that was living in my childhood passed away when I was 6.
Oh,
So yeah, so I don't have a lot of memories of her other than that feeling that I remembered she loved me. And I remember always feeling safe and secure around her. But the biggest thing I want to bring it up to date is I live with a lot of medical problems. And when I say a lot, I mean I'm overachieving. Okay. So there came truly there came a point. I have something called scleroderma, and I don't know how much you know about Bob Saget, but Bob Saget many years ago did a movie. His sister had scleroderma, and it's an autoimmune, very rare. A lot of people don't know about it. But one of the things it causes is if you get it internally or externally, I have a little bit of it both, but it causes a hardening of your skin. It can cause a hardening of your internal organs. Now, I say all that to say my mouth was shrinking because my skin was getting tighter. And the doctors decided, well, we need to pull your teeth before we can't get in there anymore.
oh wow.
I was probably late 40s, I think, when that happened.
Ooh,
So I was doing my comedy a little bit. I also I teach teachers. I came out of childcare at one point, and I've just always been into training, no matter what career I was in. And I remember thinking to myself, how how am I going to live like that with no teeth? Because the intent was not to get dentures. Because like, what sense would that make? We're taking these out because the
right.
mouth is shrinking. How are we going to put something back in there? And again, God bless Baylor Scott and White College of Dentistry. It became a class project. Like, let's see if we can give her smile back. But
Right.
prior to that, once the surgeries were done, and I took a look at myself, and I looked in the mirror and I thought, you look like an 80-year-old woman.
Mm.
I am never going outside again.
Oh,
I stopped my business. I stopped teaching. I stopped performing. And I cannot tell you like a date, but I do remember the moment when God put in my spirit, as I'm looking at myself, not looking like myself, and thought, I wish I had my grandmother here because she could probably tell me how to handle this.
wow. Yeah. Oh,
And that was the beginning. I had a good friend from church. Her name was Miss Betty. And Miss Betty kind of reminded me of that old school grandmother because she talked like this, baby, like,
yeah.
Gigi, come over here and get me that over there. Gigi, I need to go to the store. Gigi, would you come over here? So she just embodied that. And I adopted a lot of that. But over the years, doing due to the things I've had to go through, either health wise, family wise, all the different traumas, to seeing why I think she comes across so genuine to people. And what I don't know if they realize is because she's now become the voice I need to hear.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
she's saying the things that I wish my mother or my grandmother or some aunt or something was here to say to me.
Oh yeah. Absolutely. And it crosses all cultures, all socioeconomic barriers, all, just all different, anything
Hmm.
that would be dividing people in the outside world. It's just as
Hmm.
soon as you hear Granny, talking, I want people to get a little taste of Granny, if you don't mind. So
I
I'm going
don't
to
mind.
just, I want to, is it okay to play a clip? I'll play first a little bit of audio candy for people. I want to play first the first video that I saw that endeared me to. As soon as I saw it, I'm like, this woman. First
I
of all,
can't.
you are
I
funny.
can't wait to see which one it was.
You are funny, even with the touching,
Thank you.
beautiful, gorgeous, nurturing mama, vibe. You are genuinely extremely funny. And so I came across this video, and as soon as I saw it, it's a short one. It's a very short one. I just was like,
Okay.
she's my people. Okay. I'm following
Okay.
her. I'm liking every single
We're
thing.
fam.
Yeah, we're family. So let me cue this up again. And folks that
Okay.
are listening, you too can check out this TikTok and all the other amazing content that my guest Gigi Gonzalez is put together. It's Lady Gigi 50 is her handle on TikTok, and we'll have a link in the show notes so you can click on that and make sure you follow, like, and tell her that hey, I heard you on the TikTok influencer show, and I really am digging you, and you'll make a new friend like I have. So let me just cue this
Yes.
up. Okay, here we go. This is and again, it's only 15 seconds long, but we'll play another one that's longer, a more recent one. But this just made me laugh so hard. Here we go.
Hey, Sugars, you ever been so cold you called Jesus and asked for a visitor's pass to hell? I mean, just 5 minutes. Just 5 minutes. I just want to feel my toes again. Hey, Sugar.
That little look at the end is just so brilliant. I just
Oh my goodness. I was literally outside in the cold. I was camping and the temperature was probably 12 degrees, but I wanted to be outside. So I was like, well, since you out here, you might as well make a video.
well, in that one, I mean, and look at the numbers on that one. That has
That blew me away.
3.1 million views. And then the one that I'm looking at right now on the screen, the one next to that one. Now, that's not the one I'm going to play. I'm going to play the one I think you did probably today. But the next one was 10.7 million views. Wow.
It's amazing the things that, you ever plan your content, and you post it and
You think
TikTok
it's gonna go
doesn't send
good, and
it
then
nowhere,
yeah,
and
yep.
it's something that you do just spur of the moment,
Yes, yes.
and both of those.
It's just phenomenal, and again, it shows the power behind Granny and how important she is to so many people. So let's play a little bit longer one. I won't play the whole
Okay.
video on this one, but let's just play a little bit. And again, I think this will give the listeners and the viewers who are watching on YouTube, will give them a bit of an idea of, again, why Granny is so important, especially right now. And it doesn't matter where you live in the world. I think the appeal of Granny is like what we were talking about, that person that we wish we had in our life,
Yeah.
or reminding us of someone, maybe even someone that we just met. But the powerful thing about this is especially what's happening right now in the United States, because I'm an American, but I'm living here in Australia, and
Hmm.
I see what's happening, and it's tragic and it's scary. And so I think
It is.
Granny is that solid, you can rely on her. You know what I'm saying? Like it's just so important right now, what you do. So I want to share this
I'm
with
glad
people
it
right
comes
now.
across.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Here we go.
Okay.
Hey, Sugars. I am all up in your grill with no grill. Now you know that's funny. You know what I did today? I took a nap right before bedtime. You ever do that? Happens a lot as you become the opposite of younger. But now that I'm getting ready to go to bed for real, I just wanted to tell you something. I'm proud of you. I am proud of you because you made it through another day. You gave it another try. And I tell you, you'll come to realize how major that is. Because sometimes that's all you can do is just get one foot in front of the other, one foot in front of the other. But there are days some people can't even do that. But today you did. And I'm proud of you. And for those who are getting ready to get their day started, and you're getting ready to get to getting, I'm proud of you in advance because you're making that effort. And I'm telling you, sometimes that means the world. That means the world. And you just keep doing that. You keep taking it one day at a time. And you'll get there. No matter the detours. Wherever it is you meant to be, that's where you shall end up.
Mm. Oh my gosh. I'm just
You gonna
coming to
make
that.
me all emotional.
Just like Niagara Falls, you know, it's just like, oh my God.
I needed to hear that so with this new transition.
Mm,
I needed to hear that so bad last night.
mm.
I needed to hear that so bad. And that's what usually ends up in my heart. I feel like if I needed to hear it, surely there's somebody else that needed to hear it too.
Yeah.
So she ends up talking to me and to y'all. Because last night I'm telling you, this has been a very exhausting, and I have my dog, but sometimes you want to hear a voice tell you, I'm proud of you. You made it through another day. And in that moment last night, at 3 o'clock in the morning here, that's what I needed. I'm sitting there, I'm laying there and I'm thinking, what is it you need right now? Why are you not able to relax? And my eyes just welled up and I was just like, I looked around at everything I had done in the last couple of days and I was like, I want somebody to recognize it. I want somebody to say, I'm proud of you. You did a good job.
And you nailed it. And you nailed it. And you think about too, all the again, the people that come across that video. And I'm hoping with this on this show too, that more people will actually look at that watch that video,
I
but
hope so
share it
too.
as well for someone who needs to hear that. And
Hmm.
it's a huge difference. It could be the difference between someone it's huge. It just really is so vitally important. And as I was saying, it's so important right now. Now, all of that said, now so what we're facing yet another possible ban on TikTok, and this is just
I
driving me
know.
crazy because we had it for a couple days. I thought I was losing my mind, you know, because also, even though I'm here in Australia, my account is American. Right, I've got an American
Mhm.
phone, so that's my app, and so when it went down too, my channel went down too, and I was like, wait, where's all my favorite creators? So, do you know anything, Granny? Do you know anything that we don't know?
That I'm a praying woman.
Yeah.
And
Okay.
the first post Granny made after that, and I still say it today, they need to get it together because this community is more than just an app.
Absolutely.
And people have formed bonds that are deep and that are meaningful. And I feel like businessmen are playing with our emotions.
Oh,
Like seriously, because the connections are real. I know for some people who are not into social media, they don't get it, but you and I, we get it.
yeah.
I mean, did you see the posts that people were making? They're just boohooing, they're saying goodbye. They're thanking people for getting them through the death of a husband or the breakup, of a relationship or their children, empty nester syndrome. This is our life. Do I feel it's going to go away deep down? No, I don't. I really don't. Unfortunately, I think it's become a pawn
Upon.
in a game that we're part of, but we're not part of.
Yes. Yeah.
You know, But I think we'll still be here. I
Well,
think
and yeah.
they understand how big the platform is. So from a business standpoint, I think they'll figure it out.
I think too, another element of it, first of all, you have a whole creator economy that has come out of this, where people are
Mhm.
making a living, and a good
Yes.
one, and many people making a good living, but they're making a living or they're making supplemental income, and that is so vitally important for the however many millions and millions of people that are there in the United States. So
Yes.
there's one aspect, and it's like there's a clamping down on anything, taking away food stamps and support, all of that. They're just knocking it out. So
Hmm.
people, it's almost like let's make people poor and desperate. So they would knock out a huge part of the economy with that. But I think
Hmm.
also TikTok especially, not the other social media apps because they're completely controlled and it doesn't have that same vibe. But but TikTok has
It doesn't.
become the media, the people's media. So you have people that are
Yes.
in Palestine showing you on video what's happening, or you have people
Yes.
when they had the wildfires in Maui, uh,
Hmm.
people there questioning, saying, "Wait a second." Commentary, analysis of what a politician is saying, or someone who has a lot of power. It's challenging that, and
Yes.
and the corporate media is not challenging that. Okay, so I think that is probably the biggest threat, and that's what worries me the most, is
Hmm.
that if they shut it down, then they shut down the dissent, right? And so
Very true.
so I am hoping that, and the good thing about Trump too is that he's got an ego the size of,
A world.
Greenland, which he wants to take, you know and if he feels that he's a hero, do you know what I'm
That's
saying?
why I think that's why I think it'll something's going to happen in the 11th hour, just like last time, because it feeds that narcissistic,
Yes. Yeah.
ego, again, that savior complex,
Hmm.
I saved them again, now it might get pushed down again. I don't know if it'll be saved in a way that now we no longer have to worry about it. I think it will continue to be a pawn,
Yeah.
possibly a little while longer. But I believe exactly what you said is true. That sense that I want to be God, or King Trump, whichever one
King. Yeah.
which title he's after, he's going to do what's going to bring that most to the forefront.
Yeah.
And for us, cool, because that keeps us here. It's
Oh
like
yeah.
if you got to play this little game, okay,
We have, yeah, we have to have this platform. And I was
I
talking
think
also
so.
before we hit record, I was talking a bit about, I'm an American. I was in Southern California, grew
Hmm.
up my whole life, and recently have moved here to Australia. And the thing I miss is that American spirit. And when I'm
Hmm.
talking that, I'm not talking nationalism or patriotism in that
Hmm.
respect. I'm talking about entrepreneurial spirit, the that can do attitude that so many Americans have. When you grow up, you can be,
Yes.
you can be president. No, when you grow up, you can do this, you can do that, and it's fostered, it's encouraged. And
Yes.
if if those voices and those minds through those TikTok videos and like with Granny, if those are not there, that's a huge loss to me.
Yes. I
Do you know what I'm
worry
saying?
about what people would grasp onto, you know. I mean, I read the comments that people leave, and though I hadn't said it already, that's what's most important. Not whether a video goes viral. I look to see if even one person said, that's what I needed today.
Yeah.
You know, and if this goes away, like you say, those other platforms don't give you that same, I don't want to say inspiration, but that oogie googie cuddly feeling, that we can have over here. Like we really feel like you're in Australia, but I feel like right here, girl, we just hanging out. You
Yes.
know, if and you don't get that necessarily, anywhere else but here. And yes, people need that, especially right now. You need somewhere where you can take this armor off, leave it over there, and then come over here, and talk to family, talk to a friend, talk to somebody who I know understands what I'm feeling, you know,
And genuinely has empathy and cares.
and genuinely cares. One of my children, my oldest daughter, used to tell me all the time, Mom, I think you really want the entire world to be happy, don't you? And I
Oh.
said, yes, I really do. I had to go through a period where I had to realize I really do. It's like, and I know it really can't happen the way I wanted to. But Christine, that's really how I think. And I hope that doesn't make me an anomaly. I get teased about that, like, okay, Miss, I want peace and no hunger in the world, but that's what I think about.
Yes, yes.
And maybe as long as that is genuinely what I'm feeling, someone else can resonate with it.
Absolutely.
I can't fix it for you, but maybe if somebody is really, really saying a prayer for you, somebody's really wanting to give you a hug, somebody really wants to hear how your day was, maybe that's just enough. That's just enough to make you go, I can keep going a little while longer.
Yeah.
You know, I'm going
Wow.
to be okay.
And the most important thing is that it's an energy that you're beaming out, and you may or you may not, I feel grateful and lucky that I get to communicate with you and say how much I love the content you do, but how much I love your heart, and I just think you're amazing. So I get to give you that feedback. Now there'll be millions of other people or hundreds of thousands, whatever, of other people that don't get to actually say that to you, but you feel that energy. And so it's a reciprocal thing. You're putting something out into the universe that's so beautiful, and the effect is just magic. So I'm just, like I said, I'm
Well,
just
thank you.
extremely grateful. You have a new friend. Anytime you want to come to Australia, especially New South Wales, come on over. We'd love to
Like
have
what
you.
time is dinner? Let's see.
We'd love to have you. Come on over.
No, she'll show up.
I know it's okay. That's good. We want her. And so in
I
case, okay,
appreciate
so
that.
I always like to have a backup plan. So you're on the other social, those other social media. I talk about them so degradable.
Well, this
On
is where my
Instagram.
age shows. I am on them. I have not learned to work them as well as I have with TikTok. But I will tell you this, and because I am now trying to focus more on my comedy and my motivational speaking, I do go to a lot more workshops and things. So because of we'll say the ambiguity with TikTok, the comedy clubs and people, they're wanting us actually to transition our audience over on Instagram. So Miss Mary does now have her own Instagram as well as Lady Gigi. So I'll make sure that you have
Can
that.
you please make
Um,
sure that I have those links, and I'll include
yeah,
them. I will include them in the show notes
yeah.
as well.
So if anything does happen, like everybody else says, I don't do Substack and all
Now,
those
yeah.
other things, I don't know anything about them. But I said I know how to make another Instagram account.
Now, do you have a website, JJ?
No, I don't.
JJ,
I know I
you
will have
need a
to have a second
website.
meeting.
Yeah, you need
I'm
a website.
I am getting back to regular life, which is we may have to have a part two. But I've been traveling for a year and a half, so
Okay.
transitioning back to four walls and technology. I got to catch up with y'all. I got to catch
Yes, because we need to find you. We need to find you wherever you are. So definitely.
Yes,
Well, I
because
think
I think Miss Mary's going to go on the road too.
oh, I think Miss
I
Mary
really
needs a
think she
television
is.
show based on her.
I will talk with you more about like
Okay, okay.
how to make that happen.
Oh, I
Because
trust me, I've got some ideas for you.
okay, because I want that hug tour. That hug tour genuinely came out of her spirit, and I said, "Whoa, she had a good idea." Notice how I talk about her separately, because
No,
But
the
I would
hug tour
love,
would be a hit. Would
really want
be
to
a
do
hit.
that. I
Yeah.
would love to just spread love, just around the country as far as I can for as long as I can. That I could die happy if
Mm.
I could do that. Just put people in line with just I need a hug. Just come on,
Come on.
you know.
Come on.
hmm Spray you down with some Lysol right quick. Okay,
Yeah,
come
well,
on, bring it in.
you
No,
got to be safe.
Yeah. I'd be like,
Gigi, it's been such a
yeah,
pleasure to be with you today. I really, really
I
appreciate it.
get you.
Thank you so
I'm
much.
so glad.
And keep up the amazing work that you do and really uplifting so many people all around the world. But thank you again for coming on the show.
Thank you again for the invite. You, like I said, we're my new family.
Yes, yes, I am. I am.
Yes, she
I'm her
is.
favorite. No, okay, I'm just kidding. Oh my.
Yes.
My guest today
No,
has
no,
been
no.
the wonderful Gigi Gonzalez, also known as Miss Mary or Granny. You can call her any of those things that you like. It's Lady Gigi50 on TikTok, but we will also have the links in addition to her TikTok page. We will also have whatever any other links we can get from her that we'll post that on the show notes. And I want to thank you, wonderful listeners and viewers, those that are watching on YouTube. You can see my beautiful guest, and those that are listening on Apple or Spotify. Share the show if you got something out of it and you want other people to know about this wonderful woman. Please do share the show. If you wanted some information about the program and to see some of the past, you can go to thetiktokinfluencers.com. That's thetiktokinfluencers.com, and I'll also have a link in the show notes to our little TikTok page as well. You can find out that information there. And if you wanted to find out information about my coaching, then you can go to expertauthoritycoach.com. That's expertauthoritycoach.com. Okay, enough of the plugs. Thank you again for joining us.
Thank you.
And remember, as I always say at the end of the show, keep scrolling that TikTok, because you never know who you're going to land on, who's going to inspire you, and who's going to be your new BFF, as I found it myself. Thank you again. All right, loves. Take care now.